What's going on, everybody? This is Life Reviewed, bringing you the Ketogenic Shake, fast in the morning nutrition. This is one of my favorite things in the morning. It is why I wake up in the morning sometimes, because it's so tasty, it's so delicious, and it's so useful, and it is quite simple. I do the short, easier, and simple way, but if you really want to go the extra mile and make a really delicious shake, this is how you do it. First of all, shake goals. If we are looking for a ketogenic shake, then there are a few things that we must consider. First of all, we need lots of good fat, and that means we want polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats in there if we can. We want to get rid of as much saturated fat, even though more and more information is coming out showing that saturated fat might not be the devil that we thought it was. Right now, it is undisputed that monounsaturated and polyunsaturated are better for you. So if we can, we would like to weight in one of those as much as possible. Ample protein that can be modified is also a very important aspect. You want fiber inside of there. You want it to be easy and you want it to be tasty. These are very simple things to ask for, but to think of in the ketogenic diet or in the scope of the ketogenic diet, that gets a little bit more on the difficult side, because most of the things in the ketogenic diet really require a lot of cooking or preparation and everything else. This is a lot easier. So let us meet the team. The shake team, that is. First, we need chia seeds. Now, chia seeds are an amazing thing, and they have some very interesting properties, but one of the most interesting properties is their good fat content with omega-3 fatty acids and all the other healthy fats that you want going inside of your face at any given time. Chia seeds are definitely going to be one of my most recommended products for the ketogenic diet, especially in the morning. And basically, this is a play on chia pudding. The only difference is in chia pudding, because chia seeds do not require blending in order to be digested accurately, you can just do the chia pudding normally, I guess you could say, inside of a mason jar or something like that. Let it gel, and then, put it in with milk and the sweetener and be fine. But if you want to go the extra step and blend it, that will make a very smooth, very tasty consistency, and the gelling process and everything like that will thicken up the smoothie quite a bit. So generally speaking, you're looking for a chia seed, a milk, and a sweetener. Now, as you see, I've listed quite a few different milks, and I've listed quite a few different sweeteners. The typical milk on the ketogenic diet that you will mostly see is the coconut milk, and I don't necessarily recommend that, because coconut milk, though delicious, is very high in saturated fat. It is actually all saturated fat for the most part. So utilizing regular whole milk might be a better choice if you still want to maintain a higher fat content, or an almond milk if you want to just decrease the general caloric nature while still maintaining a good amount of volume. You can do that. And what I mean by that, and actually that's a very good point to touch on, is that if you use coconut milk, the actual volume of chia seeds and everything else like that you'll be able to consume is less if you're trying to hit a specific calorie target, because coconut milk has a lot of calories in it. So the ratio that you want to be hitting is 1 cup of milk or 1 cup of liquid for every 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. I typically put that a little bit higher. I do like 1.5 cups, just because I like it to be a little bit more on the liquid side, especially if you're going to add stuff in, which I'll cover in a little bit. But for instance, I found that in the morning I would like my shake to be no more than 500 calories. And coconut milk just wouldn't allow me to do that while still getting a large enough quantity of the chia seeds and fiber and everything else that I wanted in my system in order to make me happy with that. So I actually switched to a lower calorie regular milk that works very well. That's also lactose free and everything else. So that is definitely something that you can do. If you aren't really worried about the calories, you just want tasty and you're feisty, go with the chia seeds with coconut milk, because it's really good. Lastly, as a sweetener, honey, maple syrup, and stevia, or any other favorite that you particularly enjoy. I actually use stevia because, once again, I'm focused on calorie control, and I'm really on the ketogenic diet. You really don't want to be inhaling too many carbohydrates and honeys and maple syrups that are going to be a little bit on the heavy side whenever it comes to that, and they're really going to be blowing out the small amount of carbohydrates you really can get in a day, which you might want to focus on veggies or something else. So I always recommend stevia, but if you once again want tasty in your tasty, honey or maple syrup is very, very good. Now let's meet the additions with some important augmentations and understandings. Protein powders, fruits, and matchas. Now, there is plenty of different stuff. This is definitely not a catch-all, end-all list, but whenever it comes down to it, the most important thing to understand is that you've blended your chia seeds together, and these are true additions. You add them after the fact, and you can blend them together and finish the ingredients in. Protein powder, if you're going to add in a reasonable amount of protein powder, you need to pay attention to what you're adding in the liquid content, because that will thicken up the mixture even further. So if you have, a double heaping scoop of protein powder that you're going to add in, which I do have a few protein powders that I recommend, then you're going to need to add more liquid in order to deal with that. So just make sure that you're monitoring those calories correctly, because sometimes I'll add in a scoop of protein powder and I'm going to have to add even more milk in, which is more calories, which might potentially blow out my targeted goal for, my breakfast calories. And this doesn't have to be used for breakfast, by the way. I just do it because it's so easy. Fruits for flavor. Once again, fruits are very sweet and are very sweet in nature. So a lot of times you can substitute fruits for like an actual straight on sweetener, or if you wanted to augment and say just get a little bit of stevia in there and then add in fruits for additional sweetness and flavor, you can do that as well. That's perfectly fine. And then this is something I love to do, which is matcha. If I know that I'm not going to have time to make a good whole brew organic coffee or anything else like that, throwing a little bit of matcha in there is fantastic. So it's very tasty. It's got a really good flavor. Matcha is typically very, very expensive, but there are a few really, really well-rated ones that technically aren't matcha, but they're the exact same process that I do recommend that you can get in a great price, and it's a great addition. It'll give you a lot of energy in the morning and a lot of get up and go without having to put coffee in your face. So if you're not a coffee drinker, you like the idea of getting a little bit of caffeine in your morning shake as well. Not only is green tea great for burning fat and maintaining a higher energy level, but it's pretty dang tasty. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to check out this video. This is really something that I love, and I enjoy this so much in the morning. It's so tasty, and it's so good for you. There are a few recommended products that I will leave links down in the description below. Healthworks Chia Seeds is probably my first one. On Amazon, it's the highest rated chia seeds, but it's the ones that I use as well. They always come tasty, they always come good, and you really want to make sure you have a reliable chia seed manufacturer because of the fat content inside of them. They can go rancid relatively easily, or not easily, but it takes a little while, but you definitely want to make sure that you have a reliable source of chia seeds that have low chance of being rancid at any given time. So sometimes if you go and get them at like a store or anything like that, seeing how they're not as common of a product, sometimes they'll be sitting there for a very long time, especially if it's in an open bin or anything like that, and those can go rancid. Whereas if you get them, on a constant basis in a sealed bag from a place with high overturn, you really don't have to worry about that. And the Healthworks chia seeds definitely accomplish that. From a protein powder perspective, this is not what I would consider to be the most flavorful proteins on the planet. They're actually just proteins meant to add in additional protein. I listed two because one is a whey protein and one is a brown rice protein. Me personally, the whey protein tends to upset my stomach a little bit, which is the reason why I said I have lactose-free milk whenever I do the other things. So the Isopure protein powder, I think, from a bang for the buck perspective, is probably one of the better whey proteins. It doesn't come with a lot of flavor, and it's not really meant to for this augmentation. There's a lot of flavor already built into the shake already. This is just, I need extra protein because, I'm doing more weight working or I'm doing more weight lifting, and, you need something to replace those muscles in your body or to repair those muscles in your body. If you are like me and you want to avoid whey protein powder, I recommend Naked Brown Rice protein powder, which is a fantastic brand of protein powder. Works really, really well. Has a good, neutral flavor to it. And Sprouted Brown Rice protein powder, I think, is one of the most underutilized proteins, because there is a lot of issues with soy protein, and this is up for debate. A lot of people consider that soy proteins can cause additional issues with individuals, especially males, and there is some research to support it and there's research to refute it. But one thing about Naked Brown Rice protein powder, or brown rice protein powder in general, is that it does have a very good absorption rate. In fact, actually, there's only one of the essential amino acids it's deficient in, which is lysine, and it's not overly deficient. As long as you're maintaining a accurate amount of protein from other sources, you won't have to worry about being deficient. In fact, actually, the chia seeds come with a pretty healthy amount of protein already inside of them, so that there, right there, will probably make up any difference that you're not getting. And then there is a specific brand of matcha that I will also list in the description down below that I said that is on a pretty good deal, that I think is worth it, that tastes great, that is worth the money, and is highly rated. Either way, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to visit and to take a look at this shake. Tell me what you think about it. Blend it up, try it out, and see if it's everything that you dreamed of. I love it in the morning. I think it's fantastic. If you're the type of individual that just doesn't want to blend it, you don't have to. You can just do a flat out chia seed pudding. Basically, it's the exact same process. The only thing is that you don't want to you want to make sure there's enough liquid in there, and you want to make sure that you shake it up and add the protein powder in at the right times and everything else like that. But basically, you just don't blend it, and you can put it in a mason jar or something like that and shake it up. 2 pro tips to make sure that you get the most out of your shake experience. One pro tip is that chia seeds will typically settle within the first few minutes if you do a standard chia pudding. If you're blending it, it's not really much of an issue. But if you do a standard issue chia pudding, they'll start to settle down at the bottom, and they won't suspend as well as you would like them to, and they'll be a little bit more difficult to eat. So what I always like to do is put them in the liquid, let them gel for a little bit, shake it up, put them in the liquid, let them gel for a little bit, and then just every minute, maybe 2 minutes, shake it up for about 10 minutes. If you do that a few times and wait until they suspend on their own in the liquid, that'll be an overall better experience. If you're blending the protein into the shake, make sure that it is the last ingredient that you add, and whenever you add that last ingredient, make sure you do it at as low a speed as possible. Basically, you want barely there to be a vortex, the lowest vortex that you can make inside of the shake, and then add in that protein powder very lightly. The reason why is that you will aerate your shake, and it will get very, very, very bubbly, and the volume will increase probably by double if you hit it with everything you got in that protein powder. So it's very important that whenever you're adding in the protein powder, add it in last, add it in slowly, and basically just enough speed and just enough time to work the protein in with even distribution. But you don't want to overmix it, because if you do, there's going to be a lot of air in that shake, and it's going to be harder to drink, and you will be burping a lot, which is, I guess, fun, but not really what we're looking for. Either way, thank you very much for taking the time. Check out the recommended products below, and if you have any questions or if you tried it out and you think this is fantastic, let me know. Either way, thank you for coming to Live Reviewed, and you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.